This how, that's up. This how, that's what. This the Dadpod, the Dadpod, the Dadpod. Hey, what's going on, world? Once again, you know who it is, Midas. I got Shields with me to the left, and then my boy Sam Long. I'm sitting here like camera-wise. I'm like left, right to them. Anyways, today we got another Dadpod for you. We honestly struggle with comments. You know, there's only X amount of us, so we feel like sometimes we run through the same things over and over and over, you know. But a lot of these topics do come throughout life over and over and over, right? You deal with some of these same things over and over and over. The first one though we're gonna go on is tit for being broke during the holidays. The holidays are coming up. I've had a lot of these scenarios. I feel like I'm broke more often than not. You know, whether you got kids, you don't got kids, you know, most time whether it's, you know, coworkers, your friends, you know, your significant other, you have to deal with how you're going to manage your money for your bills and to buy them something.
Mm-hmm.
So either one of y'all got one to start with?
Yeah, a ski mask and a Glock. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I mean, it seems to be like the same thing for me every year, no matter what, regardless. And it's like, I'm pinching pennies, and it's like, like, do I want the whole Christmas experience? We get the tree and stuff like that. Or it's like, do I spend money just on the presents? And like, that's what it is. And like, for me, I'm more on the side of like building an atmosphere. Like, I can't remember a single Christmas present that I got that wasn't like a gaming console.
Same. Like, we weren't rich, but I got what I asked for 8 out of 10 times.
But the thing that I do remember is I do remember the tree.
And stockings and
like hanging up candy canes. And like, my mom was huge on Christmas. And like, we had this like Disney thing that she would put on the tree. And it would like dance around the tree and stuff.
That's dope.
And like, that's what I think about. It wasn't like the presents.
The memories, yeah. You know, I've said this before in the podcast too with, you know, I did this with my mom, you know, and she asked me, oh, what's an adult? What are your favorite toys? You know, name them. And it was hard for me to name the toys. She was making that point. It's about the memories, right? It's about the memories, you know, and just like you said with that, just recently, you know, Halloween's over. Thanksgiving is coming up for us right here. For whoever's watching, you know, we don't got a timeline on these videos. So anyway, like day after Halloween, November 1st, my wife's like, let's get the Christmas tree out, you know. And I always make fun of her, you know, it's like a funny joke, but she kind of mentioned something this recent time, you know, she's like, I seen a post and I disagreed with it that, you know, yeah, I get it that it's early, but if taking the Christmas tree out and decorating puts me in a holiday good mood for 2 months, I'd rather do it for 2 months than just for the 1 month, you know. And I was like, I definitely get that, right? Like you said, memories, you know, whatever makes you feel wholesome and home-like, you know, go on ahead.
That's fair. I respect your wife. I respect your point. I'm a like day after Thanksgiving sort of guy.
That's what we were, yeah. It's moved up more and more.
Yeah, we used to do day after Thanksgiving, but now she's grabbing the Christmas tree tonight.
So it's moved up more and more.
I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
But like, to her credit, like if it's just the spirit of the thing, then like it's something that I do understand that. It's like I'm trying to bring the spirit of Christmas, and like that makes me feel like alive and like in like the giving spirit and things. Like I do understand it. My concern is like commercial encroach.
Like everything's Hallmarky.
Like all of a sudden, like now, like you're thinking about Christmas presents on November 1st when it's like,
That's when you should shop, by the way.
Before that, maybe. I see what you're saying for sure. Like if you turn it to pressure on yourself, you know, it could become something. I get what you're saying for sure. You know, but with this whole Christmas thing and feeling the, you know, the spirit and stuff, I thought about it. Well, because in my head, I'm talking about my wife, and then I'm with you two, right? All of you have lost your mothers, you know? And so for me, right, I'm like, that's something I definitely take into consideration. You know, I still have mine, you know? And so like, as far as like, we're going on tip for being broke, you know, that's where I guess my biggest tip is from my mom was, you know, like you guys are saying, it's about the memories. It's not the gifts, you know, it's not really the gifts. And on top of even with us talking about gifts, I've had this conversation with my wife before when we were much worse off. These are the things that your kids get to see, the struggle where like some Christmases were great. Some we didn't have so much and we just had each other. You know what I mean? And that's to me what builds family. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, and I agree with that. That's why, like,
because you had a lot of kids in your family. How many? You had a lot in yours.
4.
So they're probably,
4 of us.
Y'all probably easily didn't have all the gifts every Christmas.
We would get a bunch of small miscellaneous shit, and each of us would get one.
The one,
good. I don't want to say good. They're all good, but
yeah.
That's the way it was.
I got a
it was like
PS2.
Expensive.
My brother got
It's
a
like-
stereo system.
It's like we got the one gift, and then when they were in the line at Kohl's, they saw all the other shit, and they were like, "Let's, you know what? We're gonna pick that up too."
Like Nerf footballs.
Yeah, the randoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the
We got a lot of
wooden
fishing
puzzle.
poles. I know that.
Here's
But,
the wooden puzzle. I'm
with
gonna
this,
put together.
at least with and whether it's kids again or like a significant other, somebody that's close to you, with the whole, for me, the tip with the being broke thing, I think a lot of it is with most everything, communication, right? Whether it's talking to your kids if they're old enough to understand, or your significant other, I'm doing the best I can. This is what I can do this year. We can hang out, we can, spend time together. But gift wise, just like you said, I think that's something I've tried, and my kids definitely understand. We've stressed it where these holidays, they're not meant for presents. That's not what it's about. It's about being
My
close.
next question, actually.
To your family, about being close. What were you saying?
I said that was my next question, actually. Like, do your kids? I know your kids are probably the least spoiled kids that I've ever met. Just again, I don't live with them. I don't know, but from what I've seen, they're pretty content.
Thankful for the most part.
Thankful, yeah.
They definitely.
Now, my whole thing is what I do miss is that Christmas magic. I don't know if you guys get it now for having kids. Like, when Rudolph was on the TV, that was put on freaking the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That was the greatest.
Absolutely.
I don't feel that anymore. I don't know.
And I love like the Tim Allen Christmas movie because like looking like as an adult now, like not only is it a Christmas movie, but it's also a movie about divorce.
Absolutely.
And like dealing with divorce and how like
adult brain is way different.
Yeah.
and how as a man like he realized his priorities were fucked up.
Yeah.
And it was only
broke.
through becoming Santa Claus that he like came to understand that like no, it's not about that. It's like also like it's about building the magic for my son. Like he rushed through the book and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that's exactly where when you said that with the magic thing, like you said, once having kids, that's when me and my wife started to understand, that magic was your parents. They created that,
Absolutely.
And so us now being the parents, we realize we have to create it. And with, going like, I think of it this way, like, because my wife's the same, but, as an adult, going through emotions, year to year, things change. As we said, some years are beautiful. I got all the extra money for everything. And some years I don't got nothing, and with that, a lot of times, I guess to me, for the parents, we base the magic off of money, off of those gifts, right? And it shouldn't be. But like with my wife, she's gotten good and where we both understand we are the magic. Now that I got this new, a new baby, 2 years old, my wife wasn't in the mood for the Halloween. She just, it's one of those months. But she was like, it's not fair to not set this up for the baby because our other kids got to see it, right? Mm-hmm. Even though I'm not in the mood, it's not fair, That's fair. So with how you guys are saying with the Christmas magic and stuff, that's within us to create. You know what I mean? We create it. And matter of fact, real quick, because we're on this, I was telling my wife about it because me and you talked about this before, Sam. But I had asked you New York. I'm like, is it really all Christmassy like that? Like the movies? And you were like, yeah, it really is.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah,
it is dope.
I want to see it.
Yeah, and I'd love to have you here. I mean, like the tree is amazing, and like they do set it up like in that one square. Like it's a pretty big deal.
I told my wife, well, this year, whatever we got going on, but I told her that recently, and I was like, I think we should plan for this next, 2026 Christmas. I was like, and then, I'll get with Sam, and I'll make sure he knows in advance, and I'll have you set up, and what we're gonna do for a week or whatever. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah!
Because I want to go see. I mean, I've always wanted to go anyway, but I want to see the Christmas magic, hands down, hands down.
100% it is, and like I don't know. Like I almost think about like the Batman. Like you remember the original Batman?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Okay.
or like Batman
Wow.
Returns. It was Batman
Yeah.
Returns. It's
Okay.
like that is like
Wow.
it's a vibe in the city, like all across.
I remember you were saying because you were like, it's almost like the stores are battling to see who's got the best Christmas, set up.
It is, and like Saks Fifth Avenue, they put on this like all along the wall. They put on this light show, and every year they change what the theme is. It's like one year it was Frozen, and like all of the mannequins were like Frozen characters, and then they would light up like as it lit against the wall.
When I finally
this shit is dope.
When I finally get a fucking house like that, I know I'm gonna stay in. I'm assuming my first house will be here, and then I'm gonna sell it and move, where I want to go. But anyway, when I finally, I like my goal for a hobby is to learn to make stuff like that for Christmas. I mean, I'm obviously not going to be an engineer overnight. It's going to take a long time, but I want to learn how to make some of that stuff because I love these having decorations for the holidays. I love, like, again, creating the magic for others. Like all three of us right here talk about some of these things often where, we're pretty good at, faking the smile, I guess would be it, right? Paint a smile. We're good at putting that shit on for other people, being happy so others can be happy. You know what I mean? Even if we're not, we're good at that. And, with Christmas and these holiday things, that's another thing I feel like that's big. We do. And I'd love to keep, carrying on some of that. But with that, next subject, roll right in. Tip for calm down when you're angry. Right. And so I'll keep it with like a holiday, being angry, maybe can't afford this or that. For me, my tip I got from my wife was when I start to feel like maybe like unappreciated or, because I can't afford this or that, was to ask my kids or my wife for a hug. That shit was so solid. You know what I mean? I don't got a gift in my hand and hands are empty. I still get a hug. Right. And that was a good tip for me. Like you're saying with the Santa Claus movie, learning what's important. I think
that is smart.
First one.
Because I know anger, like, is something that I struggle with. And, like, for me, like, I struggle for the most part because I just shove it down. And then all of a sudden, a glass spills. And, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm out of my mind. Yeah. And I think that's, well, honestly, what it boils down to is, like, being dishonest. Like I was too afraid to be. I was too afraid to just be honest and recognize my anger all along the way, and because of that, it just stewed and stewed and stewed.
One thing about like that with keeping it in, for me, I think because I feel like I want to please people. I want to make people happy, and I think a lot of times with me with the anger thing is I don't want to. Offend someone, make someone, unhappy. But as we're saying, with me doing that, I'm making myself unhappy, so I have to learn.
And listen, I mean, like, there's a time and a place for stuff. And like, for me, I mean, maybe like it's a struggle because like, I think like a lot of things that I do, like I will run through like my military experience and like, part of being in the military, they call it military bearing. And it's just like shutting the fuck up when you want to say something. But listen, they're in charge, ain't your place. Shut the fuck up. And just, all right. And bringing that like into the real world, realizing like, oh shit, like that doesn't always work. Like that's not what you should be doing. Like in the real world, you should speak up.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think I told you the story one time about the parking spot.
Yeah.
So this guy takes our parking spot, whatever, and I wanted to get mad, but what helped me was that guy's he's in a rush more than I am. I feel like if you look at things like that, not to say give everybody the benefit of the doubt, some people you need to, hey, what the F are you doing, bro? Like, I don't know.
I feel what you're saying. Yeah. Because, like, I feel what you're saying. Because I am, like, a benefit of the doubt motherfucker.
Yeah.
But, like...
I have been lately, for sure.
But the problem is like, listen, not everybody deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And if you're always
Some people are
running,
just miserable.
and if you're running it always through that lens, honestly, you're not being honest with yourself. What you're trying to do is make things easier for you so you don't have to address the conflict.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
For sure.
There's this quote,
and listen, I struggle with that shit
every day.
There's this quote from Mike Tyson that I love. He said, "A friend to everyone is not a friend to himself." Right?
Damn.
I love that quote.
That's
but it's more like a friend to everyone. Isn't
Yeah.
But that's fire.
But yeah, like, right, and with that, I know when he was telling me that story, I remember I was like, oh, you had held back more than I would. I'd have been ready to smash this motherfucker, like, straight up, because same, like, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt as well. And like, I tell a lot of people often, I haven't been in a real fight since I've been an adult, but I've told more people since I've been an adult that I will beat your fucking ass than when I was younger, and it's just because, again, at this point, I know who I am. I know how I act. I know how I speak. So if you come at me a certain way, now I know you're being that way, you're doing it. So,
exactly.
I'm not going to let you shit all over me. But with me being that way, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, those people weren't even aware that's how they were coming across. And after I check them, we're super awesome now. You know what I mean? But with the whole anger thing, right? I know I said it before, I got that necklace. I grabbed that peace sign. That is 100% calmed me down. But another one has just been realizing, like how he was saying, those people are living their own karma. You know what I mean? They're already unhappy. Something's completely wrong with their life already. So I've gotten better at just starting to kind of trying to place myself in their shoes, right? And more so combat it, with kindness. Is everything okay?
Yes.
Are you good?
I'd say that's something to your credit. And for me, like, I know, like, I got issues, and like, I'm gonna be honest, like, honestly, connecting with people, like, emotionally is something that, like, I struggle with. Like, I don't do. Like, when you're mad, all of a sudden, like, I'm just like, I'm thinking about what did I do? What should I do? Like, I'm not actually thinking about you and your emotion. I'm just thinking about its impact that it's had on me. Uh-huh. And I'm realizing, like, how selfish and what a failure that is, because, like, all I'm doing is viewing things through my lens instead of actually trying to take that step back and, like, okay, like, this person may have had a bad day.
And I did not catch that until you said that I think would be my number one tip. That is what I think I do the most that calms me down, is I try to stop and think of, of that person, like,
well, you're right.
What
called what?
Yeah, shut the fuck up and listen. I've mentioned that a billion times, right? But yeah, that is what I feel like I do the most, honestly. And it definitely probably has only been the last 2 or 3 years, but it's because of that. Where, like we're saying, with my own anger, I know how I am. I know how I get. So that person's probably the same fucking way. And that person doesn't have a Sam or a fucking Shields to go and talk or vent to like I do, right? Or discuss these topics with. So I'm going to try to be that guy for them. Like that, I think, I didn't notice until you said that. That is what I do the most in the last couple of years.
Especially like where we work too. Like last week, let's just say a coworker, he was going in on me because I just wanted to be let into a room, and he's yelling at me like I'm his son, I guess. He's really talking to me this way. And I go, is everything all right? Like, legit what Mike just says it. And he goes, what? And I go, is everything cool? And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, what's going on, man? You're not mad at me. You're mad at something else. We talked for 2 hours straight after I told that guy that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was legit, like, he was like, thank you. He thanked me. He was like, I'm sorry. He apologized and everything or whatever. So I know, like we said before, it's really hard to, some people don't deserve the, are you okay? Some people are just assholes to be assholes, and that's their prerogative, I guess. I don't know. I've rarely met someone that got mad at me that I couldn't talk down in my personal experience.
This is interesting. I thought of it randomly with what you said. I saw this video the other day, and it depends on the day if this person caught me. But let's say you walking in the mall, some random ass stranger comes up and goes, I had a bad day, I need a hug. Will you give me a hug? You giving them a hug?
I would.
Every day?
Yeah.
You too, you think?
100%.
So,
yeah,
no. I mean, like, even on one of them days you're not in the super greatest mood.
3 years ago, no. Now, yes.
See, that's awesome.
No, 100%. It would have always been 100% for me.
And yeah, you for sure. I mean, I've known you longer than him for sure. So I'm like, you just cause you're fucking, you would just do it. But so I see this video and I'm watching it. And so I seen some of the reactions and I'm like, I couldn't be mad at him because that shit would be weird for me too. Like, the fuck, motherfucker? Like, I'm having a bad day. Give me a hug. Like, who the fuck are you?
And don't get me wrong. Like, I've had bad days where like I'm at the mall and listen, I'm just sitting there. And then, like, a stranger comes to me and, like, is like, this is the Lord's Prayer. Will you say it with me? And I'm like, all right, like, whatever. Like, I don't know the Lord's Prayer, but here we go. I'll say what you say. Yeah, and then it was like, at the end, you said amen. And, like, I don't know. I just like I must have like an aura about me. I always get like people coming up to me and saying like fucking.
I've said you two are really similar to me. You know, you guys both got your own strengths and stuff like that. But as far as with what you're saying, I agree. Both of you guys. That's why I wanted to ask you guys because I feel like you two would be the two that immediately were like, yeah. Like again, for me, I do think it would my mood. I have. For sure, I can like the.
Well, since I've known you, you don't really like being touched,
and that's what it is. Honestly, it's that's what it really comes down to. But the whole idea of it, you know, I'm watching this video. Even the last guy, so whatever the video, finally at the end, which they always do, they save it right for the end. But the last guy, finally, he looked at her. He's like, come here, man. And he gave him a hug. And after he gave him a hug, he put him in a headlock and gave him a noogie. And I was like, I fucking love it, right? He was still being manly, right? But it was like, I brought this up because what I liked about it was the comments. We talk about a lot of these kind of things. You know, growing up, I've said it often, you know, at least for my pops, any emotion was gay. It was soft. It was weak, right? Like hugging a man. If you're not drinking, that's gay, right? That's growing up. That's what it was like, right? Me and Sam tested that boundary a couple times, just because people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that sounded way further than it. but I mean, but yeah, that kind of, you know. Anyway, with that anyway, but the whole hugging another man in that kind of scenario. If I'm walking and whatever, and I generally feel, you know, this person is like, you know, yeah, I feel like I absolutely would, you know, like yours, you know, the aura. I'm not as good at. I feel like how you guys are with feeling that other person, you know. I don't feel like I'm.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's because of my lack of ability to actually connect that when people come to me, they just like there's this open hole that they feel like, oh, I can throw my stuff into.
Interesting. That was a different take.
Because like I've had people say wild shit like, listen, I just met you, like. This is like
to me too. I'm not even kidding.
This is insane. I'm glad that you like got it off your chest, but like now what the fuck I'm supposed to do?
I met you 10 minutes ago, man. You're doing like
you know,
which again is cool, but not everybody likes that kind of stuff.
And I've said that a lot because I've had people tell me shit I would have took to the grave, you know. But I think that's the biggest part with us three sitting here for sure is. We're all very good at listening, right? Generally listening and then filling in when we get those chances. You know, most people, as we all know, listen and respond. You know what I mean? I don't feel like we do. And I think when people do approach us, that's where some of it is. On top of shit, it makes me that Scarface, you know, the movie Scarface. And they're like, you get, what was it? It's the eyes, Chico. You can see it in the eyes. Right?
Yeah.
But like, I think that's the other one with us. You know, people can see it in our eyes. They generally care, you know, about whatever.
I think there's something to that. It's like because like at the end of the day, it's like I do genuinely like I love people. I want to hear you got a story? Yeah, fuck yeah. Tell me. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for that. But like at the same time, I will say am I necessarily connecting with what that person is saying, or am I just allowing them to just speak? Like, actually connecting with people, like, is something that I do, like, struggle with. Like, my kids I
think, I know, because you definitely say that. I think most of it with you, at least, is definitely presenting your side of the connection. You know what I mean? You let people latch on to you very fast, but you don't. Or you're like, let's say we'll go back to a hug. You let people wrap their arms around you, but you don't tend to wrap yours around. You know what I mean? As far as connection goes,
100%.
And I'm pretty much there. Pretty close. I mean, I've gotten so much better. Like I said, as we've done these podcasts, same with my wife. I'm thankful, where I've learned to open up certain things there. I'm getting better because luckily, again, my circle around me is aware. Hey, man, we can do this. We can speak freely. But I'm thinking of it with this same topic of connection. Because I'm the last time I opened up even a little bit was with you, and I was telling you it was when I thought I thought I had cancer, and I was driving home. You text me. It was the first thing I seen when I got off. Right, your text. So I'm like typing back. I'm driving home, but I was trying to delete something because I shouldn't be driving at the same time, right? But text was fucking driving, and I tried to delete like a word, delete the whole text, and I was fucking hot, man. And I was like, fuck, I wasn't even gonna text you back. I'm like, whatever, But then I was like, nah, he took the time to fucking message me the long old fucking messages. I should write back. So I was like, oh, voice to text, perfect. So I started doing the voice to text, and which let me speak freely, right? Halfway through it, I was telling you, I choked up because I was talking about the cancer thing. Like, I was like, man, I got shit to do. I'm not ready, like, because now I'm thinking about it for real in my head. Like, we all are going to die, and maybe I'm just going to die faster. So anyway, I'm writing it to you, and I'm like, I was choking up. I was, oh, wow. And that was my moment of realizing I hadn't even talked to my wife about how I felt. I hadn't talked to nobody yet. Nobody.
Yeah, I remember you said
it. But that's, again, with what we're saying about talking to people, it doesn't matter how strong you are. We do have to find those people that we're comfortable talking about that kind of stuff with. You know what I mean? We have to be able to just let go, and, I am thankful. Same thing. I don't connect, I feel like, too often with you guys. And where I was going with it was that the last time I did connect, it was not even intentional. It was kind of like held it in too long, had to overflow,
Absolutely. And like, I've been thinking, and it's like, I don't know, if you even just like think of physics, it's like you put stuff in a container and you keep putting it in the container and you keep putting it in the container and putting it in the container. Eventually, that container can't hold anymore. And physics kicks in and it's going to blow up.
That was my problem for years. And I would blow up on the wrong people. The people who actually were like, legit, are you all right? And I'm like, oh, and all of a sudden, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, they didn't deserve that. They're actually legit trying to. So now, what I've, like how you said you did a voice to text, sometimes I just send one to myself. I sit there and talk to my phone. You can send yourself messages on Messenger. I don't know if you guys know that on Facebook Messenger. You can send it to yourself. Some shit maybe I don't want no one to hear. Maybe he wasn't ready to talk about his cancer with another person yet, but he had to let that out. Send that shit to yourself and then save it. And if you want to send it to somebody, you can.
I generally feel like that.
I'm so for don't let that shit out.
That's what I think a lot of my songs are. For
sure.
a musical journal. I've said that to people before. I have songs that I did, 2010 or something, and I'll run back into it.
You're like, what?
And I'll like tear up, and I'm like, dude, I wrote that for me for this day. Like when I said it, I just said it. I don't know why. And then 15 years later, I heard it, and I'm like, I was talking to me. But I agree with, like you're saying, voice messages. Sam, shit, when we were 17, 18, first apartment we had, he was talking about, because we was like that, journaling. And I'm like, at the time, journaling felt stupid. I'm like, I'm talking to my fucking self.
Like a dear diary.
And he's like, yeah, that's what I felt like, fucking Doug Funny, That's what I felt like. But he was like, well, you don't have to do it that way. Just write a word. So like, when you're, I'm angry, right? Angry. And every word that comes to mind, just write that. And I started that way and then, progress. But definitely, I agree, finding a way, any way to release, and notes and journals and stuff like that, I think are great. I don't remember if I said it in a video or not, but at the time when I was with the whole cancer thing, thinking about it, I had wrote some letters to my wife and my kids kind of just like that, venting and saying things I thought maybe I would never say, or maybe they would question, right? So like, let's say I die tomorrow, this might have been something you questioned about me or didn't know, so I kind of wrote something to all three of them in that aspect. And same thing, it was very beneficial to me as well, because I was able to slow time down for a second and gather my feelings that I avoid every day. You know what I mean? And that's why I do think journaling is bigger than people make it out to be.
It's like Sam said in the beginning, we have to be, before anything, got to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
So I've always said, and it's kind of cliche and hallmarky, but if you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody.
Yeah.
And I'll die on that hill.
You got to learn. Yeah, you just got to learn.
I mean, I always say my self-hatred is what keeps me warm at night.
Sure.
I gotta listen. I got a long way.
Yeah.
Till it comes to like I love myself and like I want to. Like I honestly truly do. I just like, to be honest, I don't. Never have.
Yeah. And it is like definitely with what you're saying, because I've had so many of those moments with that, especially since having kids, of questioning myself, my worthiness, and so much so, which I mean, I guess I shouldn't feel bad, but my wife makes an effort every birthday card or whatever when she writes it, we are thankful for everything you do for this family. We appreciate you, because that is the thing that I get in my head often. I don't feel like I do enough or whatever it may be, but as far as the self-love thing goes, and same, I'm still there with quite a bit. Like, cause even like I said, those letters I was writing, I had a couple in there where I say, the reason I don't be so close to you, son, my wife, was because I'm like, I fucking hate myself. I'm a piece of shit. And if you love me, there's got to be something wrong with you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like I get to these moments, but as far as the self-love thing, I again, back with you guys, my friends, and the people I am close to, that's where I try to ask, right? Like, that your guys' opinion mattered more about me than my opinion about me. Like, on certain things.
100%.
Because
100%.
if I was a piece of shit, one of you guys would have said it by now. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been called out by now. You know what I mean? So I think same with you. Like, I've never heard nobody say that. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's
now, funny enough, I was talking to my brother Eddie about you. Like, we're just talking about, just reminiscing, and he goes, legit, man. He goes, I don't say this about a lot of people, but Sam is a fucking good guy.
Yeah.
And those were his words. He said that, and he goes, I was a fucking punk in high school, man, and that guy was just like so fucking cool to me, and I was an asshole to everybody, but he was always so fucking cool to me, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
Because I told him I'm doing like podcasts and shit with you, and he goes, wait, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He goes, why are you hanging out with people in my class? I'm like, I don't like people in mine.
That means a lot. I mean, Eddie like opened my eyes up to like a lot of things.
He said the same
like
thing. He goes, dude, we were fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah. Like, we were at Mad Saturday.
The gingerness.
We were at Mad Saturday schools together.
Saturday schools.
He lived in that fucking.
He did, but like one to this day, I still think about Eddie. There's this poem. It's called like Richard Creevy, and it goes through like Richard Creevy. He's this guy. Everybody loves him. He's got this money. Everybody wants to be him. And then comes one summer night, he puts a gun to his head and blows his brains out. And like when Mr. Ammerman like brought it up, he was like, what's the thing about this poem? And Eddie, to his credit, was like, it was just like any other day.
Damn.
Crazy. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
He's smarter than he smells, for sure.
A different understanding.
Yeah.
But anyway, with
like that shit blew on mine.
we got seconds. I was like, that's the perfect way to end it, because that could be the start of the next video we do for the next one, Paint His Mouth. But anyway, we got to end this one out. I hope y'all enjoyed the video so much. Comment on these posts. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about next. Any ideas? If you want to join one, let us know. Until then, peace.